Stop fixing problems you don't understand. What if the best solution starts with one simple question? How does the person feel? Hi, I am Jay and welcome to Jay's Marketing Consult, where we make marketing simple, easy, and practical. In today's lesson, I will show you how design thinking helps you solve real problems step by step and with activities you can steal for class, businesses, and everywhere. Now, let's go. Design thinking isn't just for designers. It is a mindset for anyone who wants better solutions. Companies like IDEO popularized it, but you can use it to make schools, apps, or your community better. Unlike traditional problem solving that often fixate on symptoms or assume causes, design thinking begins with the person behind the problem. It asks, who is affected? What do they experience? And how can we create solutions that truly improve their lives? In short, design thinking focuses on people first, not only the problem. Let's move on to the bigger question. What is design thinking? Design thinking is a practical mindset for approaching problems with curiosity, empathy, and a relentless focus on people. This approach gained modern prominence through design firms such as IDEO and through influential writings by leaders like Tim Brown. Yet, design thinking isn't reserved for designers. It is a flexible framework anyone can use. It could be teachers, students, community organizers, and even small business owners to generate creative, tested, and useful outcomes. Moving on, our first focus will be on empathy. What do we mean by empathy in this case? At its core, design thinking is built around empathy. Here, empathy, is not sympathy. It is the deliberate act of understanding another person's experience from their point of view. Practically, empathy can be developed through interviews, observations, and simple shadowing. Imagine a school where students keep arriving late to the early morning class. The teacher might think the problem is simple. Students are lazy and don't wake up early. But here, that's an assumption, not empathy. With empathy put in place, the teacher decides to observe and interview students. He then proceeded by asking open-ended questions like, tell me about your morning routine and what makes it hard to come early. And here, the real issues start to come out. Some students travel over 1 hour every morning. Some take care of their younger siblings before coming to school. Others don't have a reliable transport system. Some feel unsafe walking when it is still dark. A few don't get enough sleep because they help a family shop at night. The real problem wasn't about being lazy, but rather long commute, family responsibilities, or fear of public speaking are often the seeds of better solutions. Empathy in this situation is design thinking means stepping into someone's shoes to understand their real feelings, needs, and experience so you can create solutions that truly help them. We can also talk about define or clarify. After we spend time developing empathy and truly understanding people's experience, the next step in design thinking is to define or clarify the problem. This stage is important because empathy usually gives us a lot of information and not all of it points to the real issues. Clarification here helps us to make sense of everything we learn and express the core problem in a clear and focused way. Clarifying the problem also helps us to avoid blame. When we jump to quick conclusion, we often blame others. For example, if students are not participating in class, it is easy to say students don't care or students are lazy. But these kinds of statements stop creativity because they close the door to understanding. The defined stage encourages us to move away from these assumptions and instead use what we observe and heard to identify what is actually happening. A helpful tool in this stage is the how might we, that is the HMW question. This type of question turns a problem into an opportunity. Instead of saying students don't pay attention, we might ask, how might we create a learning environment that keeps students more engaged? This simple shift changes the energy of the conversation from blame to possibilities. For instance, if empathy reveals that students are not participating because they feel shy, tired, or confused, then our HMW statement becomes more meaningful. A refined question such as, how might we make lessons more comfortable for students who struggle with speaking in front of others, direct us towards solutions that truly match the real problem. To keep it in short, the define or clarify stage helps us to take everything we learn from people and express it in a way that guides creative thinking. It ensures that we are solving the right problem, not the one we assumed at first. On the third, we are going to talk about ideate. That is here quantity matters. Once the problem has been clearly defined, the next step in design thinking is ideation. What do we mean by ideation? Ideation is the stage where we allow ourselves to think freely and explore as many possibilities as we can. At this point, the goal is not to find the perfect idea, but to generate a large number of ideas. The belief behind this stage is simple. The more ideas we produce, the more chances we have of discovering something truly original and useful. Even ideas that seem unrealistic or silly can spark new directions when combined or adapted later. To support this kind of open thinking, different techniques can be used. One common method is brainwriting, where participants write their ideas silently and then pass them around for others to build on. Another approach is the scamper technique, which encourages creativity by asking questions such as, what can we substitute? What can we combine? How might we adapt or modify this? Can we put it to another use? Should we eliminate something? What happens if we reverse it? These structured prompts help people break away from limited thinking patterns. Similarly, frameworks like systematic incentive thinking (SIT) provide step-by-step prompts that push teams to generate ideas they would not normally consider. That is why mostly when you enter into a lecture hall and the lecturer asks questions, and maybe a student who says no idea, the lecturer got pissed. Why? Because they are expecting you to flow in more ideas for them to be able to know if you understand it or not. So here, a key role during ideation is to suspend judgment. This means no idea is criticized or dismissed at this stage, not even your own. Evaluation comes later. When people feel free to share without fear or being judged, they are more willing to take creative risk. Ideation, therefore, is not just a process of producing ideas. It is also a mindset that encourages exploration, imagination, and openness. So from today, when you enter into the lecture hall and we ask for questions, make sure you flow in enough idea which helps the lecturers know that you truly understand or not. The fourth one, we're going to talk about develop. The develop stage is where ideas begin to take shape. After generating many possible solutions during ideation, this phase focuses on turning a few of those ideas into tangible prototypes. A prototype is not meant to be perfect. Instead, it is an early, inexpensive version of solutions that helps a team explore how an idea might actually work. Prototypes can take many forms: a quick sketch of an app screen, a simple role play of a service interaction, a paper model, or even a mock-up made from cardboard. What matters most is that the prototype is something users can interact with. The goal of prototyping or developing is learning, not impressing. When teams test prototypes with real users, they uncover assumptions they did not realize they had. A feature that seemed brilliant during brainstorming may turn out to be confusing when someone tries it. On the other hand, a small detail that seemed unimportant may become the element users value the most. These insights only appear when ideas are brought into the real world. Now, have you ever tried answering a question in class and the teacher said, "Oh, my friend, you are quite close, but that is not the answer"? And along the line too, someone waked up and answered a question, that particular question, in a different way, and the teacher said, "You are correct with it." Although you might feel devastated, but here at the develop stage, failure is a natural part of it. A prototype that doesn't work is not a sign of bad idea. It is valuable information that helps the team understand what needs to be changed. Each prototype teaches something: what to keep, what to remove, and what to adjust. The develop phase is therefore about experimenting, learning quickly, and moving closer to a solution that truly meets users' needs. The final stage we talk about implement. Implement here is a stage of piloting and scaling. Implementation is iterative. Pilot a solution in a small context, measure outcomes, revisit the design, and scale what works. During implementation, sharing findings with stakeholders and documenting lessons help embed the learning culture into an organization. So at this stage, feedback is the most paramount in every institution. To wrap things up, design thinking isn't a waste of time. It is one of the smartest ways to build solutions that actually work. It is non-linear because real understanding happens in cycles. You discover something new, you adjust, and you make the idea better. Coming back to business life, this process is not theory as you may assume. It is practical in action. When you talk to real customers, you test simple prototypes and refine based on feedback. You avoid unnecessary cost mistakes and create products people genuinely want. That is the real advantage of design thinking. So, instead of seeing design thinking as extra work, see it to be as a shortcut to better decisions, better ideas, and better results. Unlike the traditional one, which focuses on what? Problems first. You first of all visit or do your analysis, bring out the problems before you tackle it. With the design thinking is quite different. it focuses on the people first. That is, we call it is human-centric or user-centric, because it keeps you focused on the people who matter most, your users and customers. If you did enjoy this lesson, then give it a like, subscribe, share and comment down below for more lessons like this. In our next lesson, I will talk about how you can implement design thinking if you want to start a new business or expand your business into a different market, and how this strategy even helped a student who started selling porridge on campus to students. Stay tuned.